Right, let's dive in. Good morning, and thank you all for tuning in. I am so excited about my guest today. It's someone I deeply admire, someone I followed their political career for years and just has seen nothing but success, integrity, humanity, compassion, justice. You may have seen the viral video from a few months ago of a state senator chasing ICE out of her district in her high heels. And that state senator is the person sitting before you today, State Senator Karina Via. Senator, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me on, and hello to everyone in the audience.
And if you have questions, throw them in the audience. But before we get started, you're not here to talk about your run for state senate because you're already elected. You're here to talk about another race, a statewide race you're running. Let's just start and present to everybody this race that you're running for and all the good stuff that we need to know about this.
Sounds good. So, I am running to be the next Illinois State Controller. Let's back up just a little bit. Before I was even a state senator, I was actually a school social worker. I did that for 15 years. The reason I decided to run in the first place was because we had a governor here in the state of Illinois who was a Republican who was refusing to pass a budget. What that meant was that we were slashing services for everyday people, everything from healthcare, childcare, everything from public education funding to housing. So I got fed up with it, and I said, "What is anyone doing?" Well, finally, I said, "What are you doing about it?" and decided to run. So I flipped a state representative seat in 2018, and then in 2020, I ran and flipped a deep red Republican district to become a state senator. Ever since, I have been fighting the good fight because let me tell you that no matter what title I ever hold, my favorite title will always be that of Miss Via because that is what my former students call me and their families. So, my North Star is making sure that we're bringing resources to the families and the communities that need it the most. And let me tell you that more and more that is happening across the state, that people are needing more services because this federal regime is hellbent on slashing funding for our communities. The controller gets to do a lot of different things. One is decide in what order to pay the bills. For me, it will always be about the most vulnerable people in society first. Next, the controller is the people's watchdog. The controller gets to see where the money is coming in and where it's going to. What that means is procurement for state contracts. Under my watch, on day one, we are going to go through the contracts of the state of Illinois. And if you have a company that is investing in ICE, these federal monsters who are attacking our communities, you will not be able to do business with the state of Illinois. I will not allow it. Further, the controller has to make sure that there is full transparency. What that means is not only am I going to say, "Hey, everyone, I paid the bills on time." No, we need to talk to people about the budget because budgets are moral documents. We need to tell people this is how much I paid in for this line item, but this is how much is missing to be able to fully fund that line item. And it's not just about talking and complaining, it's about action. So we need to be fully holding corporations and billionaires accountable. We need to bring their money to the table. The same billionaires and corporations that are getting tax vacations from the Trump regime, we need to hold them accountable here in the state of Illinois.
Thank you for that brilliant introduction. I want to step back for a minute and talk a bit more about ICE because we're seeing an unprecedented escalation over this presidential administration. But to keep things 100% honest, we saw the escalation under the Biden administration as well. The Biden administration increased ICE funding by billions of dollars, and Trump is just continuing and perpetuating that. You're running as a Democrat. Uh, the biggest complaint I'm hearing about the Democratic Party right now is that it's controlled opposition. How will voters know, or how do the people listening and watching know that when you're in this seat, you're not going to serve as this, lackey for the party who has been continuing to increase ICE funding, but that you actually are going to do what you're promising right now and make sure that those who are working with ICE as they terrorize our communities will not be getting taxpayer money from the residents of Illinois.
Thank you for that amazing question. I agree with you first and foremost that we need bold leaders in the Democratic Party. And the reason that people and voters are staying home is because they're not seeing that. All they're seeing is fluff. All they're seeing is leaders who want to hide behind a title. I have never been the type of leader to sit back and let others do the work. I am the school social worker. I am Miss Via. I am the one who has continued to fight. And this is personal. It's not, let me just tell you, the day that I ran and chased ICE out of my community, my students and families, they were like, "Yeah, of course. Like that's that's exactly what Miss
That's who
Via
she
did."
is. Yeah,
Like
that's who she is. Yep.
we have no doubt that that's exactly what she was going to do if they ever came into West Chicago. Why? Because they know me. So actions speak louder than words.
Uh,
Actions speak louder than words, and I have the receipts to show that that's who I am and who I always have been and will continue to be as your controller.
and I will, for those watching who followed my work for a long time, when I reached out to Senator Via before she even knew who the hell I was, I had no reason to know who I was. She set time aside for me with no expectation of anything in return. And that's at that moment, I'm like, okay, this is a real leader. This is a sincere person. And I've never shared that with you before. So I'm sharing it live right now. But that's when I knew that this is a real person that I want to be close to because she leads by example. Let's talk specifically about what's broken right now with the comptroller's office. What do we need to fix in terms of making it transparent, making it accessible? I'd be willing to bet that if you asked 100 people what your office does, 95% of them probably have no idea. How do we change that and get folks more civically engaged and informed on this very critical role that impacts their life on basically a daily basis?
I think that we need to talk to the people where their money is at, right? Like right now on a snow day, a parent opens the refrigerator and is scared because they don't know what they're going to feed their children
Yeah.
because the children are usually fed at school.
Yeah.
Let's talk about real people issues and connect that to the budget. Why? Because it's the people's budget, it's the people's dollars. We are balancing budgets currently. We're balancing budgets in the state of Illinois by chopping services and not fully funding line items. We are not fully funding public education. We're not fixing the pension system, the pension problems. We are not fully funding healthcare. These issues, the reason that we're not doing that is twofold. One, because we're refusing to tax billionaires and corporations.
Yeah.
Two, because Donald Trump is continuing to make it worse by not sending us the money that we need. And finally, because we have one of the most regressive systems of taxation in the nation. And these, speaking plainly, is exactly what we need to do, not this bureaucratic language and putting lawyer talk, sorry,
No, we're
in
terrible. We're the worst. We are the
in
worst.
front of people. We need to have a real conversations and bring the real needs to the table. And that's what you will get as the people's watchdog. You're not looking to hire an accountant for the controller. That's not what you're doing. If you were looking for an accountant, it would be an appointed position versus an elected position. The controller is the person who's the watchdog, the person who is looking over your money, the person who is saying, this is where the money needs to go first when there's a crisis. I am the person who understands what a crisis is and what everyday Illinoisans are struggling right now to make ends meet.
One of the really strange stories that's emerged in this campaign is the influence of crypto. And there are folks who are kind of championing crypto despite its inconsistent track record. I think there is a time and place for crypto. I don't think this is the time and place. I don't think that we should be investing our resources there in a way that is volatile and unsure and uncertain. Um, and I also don't think people understand the role crypto is playing in this election. Can you talk a little bit about what we're seeing and what the danger is that we need to be careful about? And the third part of this question is what you're doing to prevent that from harming people who are going to be affected by this?
So, thank you. The reason that crypto is a question in this election right now is because, again, you are looking to hire the people's watchdog. So you're looking at our resumes and you're saying, who do I most entrust with our tax dollars? Who do I most entrust that during these horrific times is going to do what is needed with our money? So when you're looking at our resumes, what you're going to find is that there is a treasurer from Lake County who is boldly championing the fact that she took thousands of dollars from crypto investors for her campaign, and that she spent thousands of dollars on her own crypto coin that is now worth nothing. That crypto coin she asked people to invest into. Those people now have nothing to show for it. There is no money for anything that they invested in this cryptocurrency. She claims that she did it because she is a hands-on learner. If you're a hands-on learner, take $10 from your wallet and invest it in crypto and see what happens. I myself am a person who trusts experts, who collaborates with people from the field, who understands both sides of the equation, and then I make a fully thought out um, decision. The other reason why uh, crypto is playing a role in this conversation, in this controller race, is because my other opponent, a multimillionaire, is married to a person who has a firm that is all about expanding crypto. She herself has been on the record defending crypto. She has talked about the crypto that she has invested in,
Hmm.
that same crypto that is now worth nothing. It's plummeted, but worse. So her husband is a lobbyist. He's all about crypto. She has introduced bill after bill after bill in the General Assembly to give crypto fair reign across the state. One of their answers is, well, there's these crypto vending machines at the local grocery store. So guess who's investing in those crypto coin machines? People who are
Yeah,
vulnerable,
yeah,
who are
low-income people. Yeah.
desperate to make ends meet, who are living paycheck to paycheck, sometimes two paychecks behind because they heard that, the Lake County treasurer thought it was a good idea. They heard that the state representative, who's a multimillionaire, thought it was a good idea. And now they're taking their hard-earned money and investing. This is a travesty. This is a travesty. And these people are the ones who are running as my opponents to be the watchdog of your dollars.
And that actually is mortifying. That is horrifying, and it reminds me of the old adage: the best predictor of future success or future behavior is past behavior, and that to me does not exude confidence in monetary policy and sound fiscal monetary policy. I'm glad you spelled that out. There are going to be a number of forums where people are going to come meet you. When is the next one? No, what are the next few that people can come and meet you in person as well?
Yes. So tonight, the young Democrats of Illinois are going to be hosting a forum. I cannot wait to see them. It's going to be in Des Plaines Library at 7 p.m. today. Please make sure to follow me on Karina Via for Controller on social media. We will also post the other events that are coming up. There's so many of them. We'll make sure to put that out there. So Karina Via for Controller on Instagram, on Facebook, and then just simply Karina Via, KarinaVilla.com. You will be able to see the long list of amazing endorsements that I've received and my platform for why I'm running for the seat.
I've been putting your link in the chat so people are seeing that as well. Two more questions before we wrap it up, because I think it's important that people understand that prior to this run for the statewide seat and in your time as a U.S. Senator, one day U.S. Senator, inshallah, we'll say, uh,
Inshallah.
as a state senator, you've been unapologetic in your values everything from demanding universal health care to condemning the genocide in Gaza to calling for there to be charges filed against politicians who take corrupt money. Can you talk a little bit about your values as a progressive and as someone who is running unapologetically on these principles without fear of backlash?
I will always bring it back to my time as a school social worker. When I left my profession, I left with tears. I left in desperation. I left because the people weren't having their voice heard. I still there's not a week that doesn't go by where I say, if only I was in the classroom again, if only I was with my students again. 'Cause I'm like, that is my heart. My job as a social worker is still my heart. It's still my favorite thing I've ever done in my life. It's my favorite, you know, best time of my life. I didn't get into office to be sold or bought out or for sale. I I don't see it as bold leadership. I don't. I see it as the right thing.
Yeah.
I see it as like kids were being bombed, families, innocent people while they were waiting in line for food in hospitals, in schools.
Yeah.
And the reason I didn't get the Cook County Democratic Party endorsement was because a billionaire called around and said Karina is a keffiyeh wearing Hamas loving anti Semite. That is why I didn't get the Cook County Democratic Party endorsement. And if that is the reason that I didn't get the endorsement, I promise you I don't want it.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
want it because I'm pro humanity, and this is not about, for me it's not about politics, and maybe I'm a little bit naive. For me it's about humanity.
I love it. And I mean, that's, I think, the simplest and clearest answer. And then that reflects in the way you run your politics. Can you talk a little bit about how you're funding your campaign and how you're making sure that your campaign is aligned to working people above all else?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not taking any special interest money, no corporate money. The That money has no place here. This is the people's campaign. This campaign has a heart that is so incredibly big and bold and amazing. I have, I have, I have not ever, nor will I ever take any APAC dollars ever. You
I love
know,
it.
the controller actually has a role in balancing out the opposite office, which is that of the treasurer. The Illinois treasurer has insisted on continuing to invest in Israel bonds.
Hmm.
I will be the counter to that.
That's so
I will
critical.
be the counter to
Yeah.
that.
It's critical, it's tangible, it's meaningful. And last thing before you go, Senator, can you talk a little bit about when voting starts? When is election day? And how can folks get involved? Obviously, I put the link in there for them to donate. Can folks volunteer online, phone bank, text bank, door knock? So talk just a little bit about the logistics of the campaign and how folks can get involved.
Let's start from St. Patrick's Day and work backwards. St. Patrick's Day is election day, everyone. So if you're going to wait and do it at the ballots on election day, just think about St. Patrick's Day. You won't miss it then. Now
Hmm.
go backwards. There's different places that have already started with early voting. If you choose to do vote by mail, make sure to do that. We have volunteer links on my website, so make sure to sign up. There will be plenty of opportunities for phone banking. This is going to be grassroots. Every hand on deck. I will be the only working class progressive in a statewide seat in the state of Illinois. This matters. This matters for this moment that we're living in. I have seen that there's folks from all over the country and probably outside of the country as well if you are able to donate any amount, we would appreciate that to get us to the finish line. Again, my main opponent, is a multimillionaire married to a corporate lobbyist. They have a lot of money. They're good friends with a billionaire who called me Hamas loving, keffiyeh wearing anti Semite. So I proudly wear the keffiyeh, and I will continue to do so.
So if you are a U.S. citizen, join me in donating to Senator Via wherever you're based out of, because we need to elect good people. Senator Via, we would love to have you back on before Election Day. Thank you for the work you're doing. Thank you for the fearlessness with which you're fighting. I wish we could duplicate you and have you all over our elected office, but I will settle for one statewide leader with your courage to start with. Thank you. Good luck. And let's go out and win this thing.
Thank you. Take care, everyone.